Don't you think it's time for the city of Savannah to have an honest tourism management plan? That SCAD start paying its fair share? And the hospitality industry needs to increase its wages? The impacts of new growth should not cost residents. All local elected officials on council and commission should have term limits. We're working hard to accomplish these policies. We need your help. Please contribute whatever you can, $5, $10, or $20, by going to bettersavannah.org. Donate. Thank you.
I appreciate our tourism community. I appreciate our hoteliers.
The following show and broadcast is a production of Better Savannah, an independent expenditure committee dedicated to better policy outcomes at the state and local level. The views, opinions, and statements made by the hosts and/or their guests do not necessarily reflect the views of Better Savannah.
What's up, everybody? It's Chuck. John will be along in just a few moments. It's Thursday, February the 3rd. I don't say December. February the 3rd. And this is episode 73. Heavy is the crown. Thinking about the upcoming elections, we just saw Orlando Scott, a county commission nominee from 2020, announced that he's running for the open Senate District 2 for Lester Jackson's seat that he's vacating to run for labor commissioner statewide. So we see a matchup between him and current House District 163 State Representative Derek Malo shaping up. In other races, we saw Wesley Bowers, also known as Lady Mahogany, longtime Blessings in a Book Bag leader, radio host, will run against Ann Westbrook for that House District 163. That looks like a fascinating race That race was decided by 19 votes 2 years ago. So who knows what's going to happen this year. We've also got 3 candidates running for the school board presidency. Roger Moss, whom we long speculated was going to run, did finally announce and seems to be raising a lot of money. And we've got Taisha Whiteley, who ran 4 years ago, narrowly missed the runoff, running again, and Todd Rhodes also as declared candidates. Qualifying for these races is in just a little bit more than a month. It's about 5.5 weeks away. So we'll know the actual lineup of candidates for sure in about 4 or 5 weeks. So I would expect for our audience that our episodes are going to largely be candidate interviews and maybe some debates. The way I think we're going to do it this year, this is our kind of second and a half run at an election cycle. I think we're going to do individual interviews with as many candidates as possible. And then races where we're really close on some things, we may invite the candidates for a sit down together closer to the election date, which is May the 24th. So we are a little bit more than 3.5 months out for the primary season, which, looks incredibly competitive on the Republican side. You got a contested governor's race, contested Senate race, a lot of different characters in and around. So that's kind of the update on the electoral front. Today is the annual patronage trip to Atlanta, where we have Savannah Day at the Capitol. And, it's always a good thing to go up in line and lobby our legislators. I will tell you, in my experience, it happens to be mostly a dog and pony show. You done dancing back there, John?
Yeah, man.
Here's John, everybody.
Hey.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I just ran through kind of the, overview of where we stand electorally on the big 3 races we're watching. House District 163, Senate District 2, and the school board president's race. No word on anybody coming out against Carl Gilliard so far, but maybe somebody will decide to jump in and challenge him. I was just telling everybody, John, qualifying's in 5.5 weeks. So, we got a lot going on.
We don't have much.
Well, I think there's some interesting races out there. I disagree with you.
Well, it's a lot like this book I ordered.
Yeah, Spanish Civil War.
Watched a fabulous documentary on it.
Cuba Libre, man.
Went and online, ordered myself a book. Check it out. This is how thick it is. It's nothing.
Jeez.
So, lesson learned. Take a look at the table of contents.
Right when you were walking up, I was saying, John, today is the annual kind of,
luau.
Patronage journey to Atlanta for everybody who's somebody in politics, sort of, has been at the Capitol all day and is at the train depot for the oyster roast right now.
They're bowing at the altar of the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely. Everybody must go kiss the ring, for the engine that is business in Savannah. I've been several times. It has been productive for me on some policy fronts, but it is mostly go get wasted with other political people, at the Ritz-Carlton after the oyster roast.
It's fascinating how much power a few shrimps and a piece of sausage are.
Then the oysters, John. I can't forget the fucking oysters.
I don't eat oysters, Chuck. So
why? What's wrong with oysters?
They're the presentation, I guess. It's not me. This is more for you, buddy.
I feel like when you eat an oyster, you're putting yourself in touch with that pre-industrial diet, that the coastal people had,
No, you're putting yourself in touch
700 generations ago.
with the primordial ooze that came out of
Sure.
the marsh.
Correct. We, from dust to dust, baby.
Yeah, I'm a Swanson TV dinner guy. I'm sorry.
So John, any other words on the Capitol Day, Savannah Day at the Capitol? This is where a lot of deals get made. There's a lot of things going on. Before we move on to some of our other topics, I wanted to make sure we hit that. We beat that horse dead.
Yeah, I'm. The only comment I'll make, Chuck, is watching local news tonight. WSAV.
Watch what they present for the 2-minute bit.
Yeah, well, they said that tourism funding is the single biggest priority for this legislative
Hotel motel tax expansion. Just like we were a year ago.
Millions more for the Hutchinson Island Convention Center. I mean,
sure,
it's just a never-ending cycle of funding. Canal District asked,
probably coming up next for bonds or future SPLOST dollars, one or both.
Yeah. In the meantime, SCAD's building
a 17-story dorm. Let's let me pull that up here. Let's go to that real quick, because I this was a really good pull, a good article by our friends over at the Savannah.
Yes.
Give me a second to pull it up, okay?
Okay. I'm glad Rebecca's with us tonight.
Yeah. Organizing member here with a Better Savannah. Let's see here.
Our date night roster just isn't quite as large as the mayor.
Oh, it's never going to be as large as the mayor's. He's a popular fellow, but heavy is the crown.
Yeah, right. We're going to get to that. I've got
we will get to that. That's the title of our episode this week. And it's there's a lot of moving pieces right now in the local politics, John. I think that's very much true for anybody. All right, so on the screen now, here's the article from longtime friend Jim Maricas, who needs to come back on the show. It's been a year, Jim. It's time to come back on.
It sure does. Come on, Jim.
Proposed SCAD dorm set to be tallest building downtown. So this piece of property sits on the exact edge of the historic district. So there's I guess approval and arguments that it doesn't need approval for the height variance. Let me just give you guys an example. On the screen right now, you see Talmadge Bridge right behind it. The top of this dorm residence will level where the cars are coming over. So if you're driving over the Talmadge, you might be able to look over and see, SCAD kids smoking weed in the window or doing, who knows
they're
what.
They're working on their term papers, Chuck.
Sure, buddy. Sure. Look at this rendering. That is hideously large.
It look what you know what, Chuck? I can save SCAD millions of dollars. All they have to do is pick up Stubbs Tower and move it to the bridge, because that's what it looks like.
Yeah. It's
yeah. How's council doing with that fair share program that the mayor touted?
Right. Where are we at? And why don't we have impact fees passed so that way we can get some revenue from SCAD, because Lord knows they're going to not try to pay taxes on it.
Yeah, it's just their timing is convenient and fortuitous, and I think structured, if you will. Let me see that overlay again, Chuck.
Yeah, this is the overlay map.
Okay, so they're in
this is where the property is.
This no-go zone is yellow, and no-go zone
is purple.
We just sliced out a bunch of property that SCAD owns
right next to the bridge, right over here next to the port and the bridge.
Yeah.
Very industrial. It's going to be very industrial looking.
Well, I'm looking for Broughton Street.
Let's see. Broughton is right here, John. Right here. See where my mouse is?
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yeah. Where's Price Street?
Price is over here. Right here. Shh. Dog is not happy about SCAD either. I feel you, girl. So speaking, all right. So guys, I put the link in the comments. The price of $5 to subscribe is worth it for reading this entire article alone. It's very good. We support our friends Rachel, Jim, Sean over at the Savannah, amongst other independent media outlets like ATR.
Yep.
And Candidly Keisha. So let's I want to move on with SCAD because we noticed, John, that ever since we kind of got everybody riled up in November and December with our proposal that they pay their fair share, we've seen them fight. They're fighting back with their PR campaign of their own.
Yeah, they are. And
so just in case you don't know, you can go to the ad library for any page, including ours, and see what ads are currently running, what ads are not running or were run. So in January, there was this ad, John.
This year and every year, SCAD salutes local businesses and nonprofits for their commitment to providing essential needs. SCAD joyfully honors our partners in the everlasting work of serving and strengthening our community, our beloved home.
I've had a great chance to learn from SCAD and the role it has played in the advancement of Savannah.
Without SCAD, we wouldn't have this nationally recognized historic district.
Oh, Lord. Oh, my God.
SCAD Salutes is all about gratitude for our 40+ years of friendships with businesses and nonprofits who feed, clothe, provide shelter, uplift others.
Yes, they do it without the benefit of any of your money.
Thank you for all you do. We're honored to call you neighbors and friends.
We're honored to be leeching off of you neighbors by not paying any taxes.
You should have said I love you.
Yeah, I freaking love you guys. I mean, now I also noticed, John, that besides that one, they also have one defending that 99% of SCAD alumni are employed. So this is directly contradicting the value proposition, right? And then just recently, this is like yesterday, okay? And I have no problem saluting. These are some great women leaders in our community. But again, this all just feels like a PR campaign. It's a very, very well-produced
appropriation.
Correct. And I just feel like other institutions and other avenues and venues would not get this passed with this type of campaign. Let's watch this 40-second clip.
I grew up in Savannah, Georgia.
The history of Savannah and the town it's the women that started preservation here, not the men.
It was difficult to be female as well as Asian.
These are the women who helped Savannah stand the test of time. These are Savannah's pioneers. These are the stories that inspire all of us. The Savannah Women of Vision.
Again, just extremely well produced, right? Well, I got no problem with those women being honored. There's a lot of amazing careers being profiled in that video in this series. But that's not the point, people. The point is we could be honoring these women while SCAD pays its fair share. Why can't we have both?
Yeah, one has nothing to do with the other except the subtext, which clearly the motivation and psychology of this ad is to dispense accolades and give attention to notable people so that when somebody asks SCAD to behave like a good neighbor, people run to their defense and say, "Oh my God, they're the best. They're the best. They saved Savannah."
Right.
I mean, we posted a while back that Historic Savannah saved Savannah 15 years before SCAD was even a concept. So
That's right.
it's really disingenuous. It's very slick, and I don't mean
it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Value. It's transference and cheap appropriation.
It's disgusting.
Why don't they just write the damn check and get all this behind them instead of all this counter programming? It's a crazy tactic. I guess they just refuse to heal and be a good neighbor. They're just going to appropriate everything and anything and take credit for it vicariously. That's the marketing concept here.
Yeah, I mean, look, Alderman Dietrich Leggett, Alderman Keisha Gibson Carter, School Board Representative David Brinkman, County Commissioner Adot Whiteley. These officials are ready to sit down with SCAD's leadership and hammer out a deal that makes sense for the governments here. We laid out a great plan last year.
Modest
go take a look at it. Good news coverage about it, and we think it's the right time. So just I don't know, man. I'm kind of demoralized after watching those two videos, John.
I think we should have a gentrification award every year, Chuck, and the first recipient will be the Savannah College of Art and Design.
Yeah. I just gotta say, man,
they
plans this institution has. They took out $160 million bond to do Chatham Apartments in the 17-story. They're coming for more. I will say, I support them making their students live on campus. I hate the way they're going about this, but they need to help reset the rental market and get their students out of the private housing supply. I know that some landlords aren't going to like that, but I don't really care for that either. So cry me a river.
Anyway, I called it social media blitzkrieg.
This is growing pains. These pains of this growth are like no other, and it's going to continue to happen unless we demand our leaders do something about it. With
what one last point that the audience needs to understand is 6 months ago, Van Johnson, the mayor, said he was in discussions for pilot fees, payment in lieu of
6 or 8 months ago. You're right.
And the only thing he's done is show up at a ribbon cutting with Paula Wallace for their workforce housing Pulaski Square project that yielded 21 apartments after SCAD took off the market 232 affordable.
And let's be honest, it's probably going to be mostly like their employees, who the lower end employees who barely make enough to survive, and they're going to get cheap housing. It wouldn't surprise me either. So, John, you've been busy. We did take some time off for the holidays, like a lot of media shows do, and
but I went down a rabbit hole.
You have been down the rabbit hole. So tell us, what the fuck is going on at Tybee?
Well, the short version of that, Chuck, is Tybee has, as you can see in this meme, Tybee has 2,500 voting age residents. Okay. Now, no municipality or county has 100% voter registration. So if Tybee reached 90%, they'd probably have 2,400 adult residents eligible to register to vote. Their voter rolls, Chuck, have over 3,400 people. That is an astonishing overage that indicates that the Board of Registrars of Chatham County and the clerk of council at Tybee, who's the superintendent of their elections, whenever an election comes to Tybee, have ignored keeping the voting roll accurate, current, fresh, healthy, whatever you want to call it. So I've been studying that, and I have made lots of little aha moments in the review of their voting rolls and who voted in the last election. And just for fun, I got a quiz for you, Chuck, on.
Hang on, John. I just want to stop and, do you want to give an update? Do you want to talk a little bit more about what's going on? I mean, there seems to be some movements on there. There's a lot of bullshit there, right? And I just want to put this up on the screen.
Yeah, wait, okay? It's not a new problem, Chuck. This problem.
It's not a new problem.
5, 6, 7 years old.
I just want everybody to see these top 3: Brian West, Michael Hosty, Monty Parks. These people won their seats on these results. Okay, right. Look at the closeness between 3, 4, and 5. Okay, 612. 5. Yeah. Let's just get the calculator up here. Okay,
all right.
Let's just do the math. 612 minus 567 votes, 45 vote difference, minus 534 is oh wait, let me do that one. 612 minus 534, that's 78 votes. Look, I mean, I just want people to see how close these elections were decided. 40 votes. And look at these irregularities.
Incredibly close in certain dimensions, because Elaine Magruder was only 45 votes away from getting on council.
Right. And Marie Rodriguez is only 78 votes away.
Yeah.
So
the big takeaways was kind of, how did Brian West become the runaway candidate, and why did Matt Kitchens finish last? He was right on the issues. He's got a big personality, but he was right.
I mean, I think a better question is, why didn't one of these 2 women get a seat on this council? I think they were supposed to win. This is my theory.
All of those are good questions, Chuck. But let's segue over to my quiz, which
what's your quiz here?
Will indirectly help viewers understand.
It's not a pump it or dump it, but it's a quiz.
Yeah, it's a quiz. Okay. If you own a short-term vacation rental on Tybee Island, Chuck.
Yeah.
First question is, can you have 2 homestead exemptions in different locations and vote from whichever one you want to vote from?
That's false. You can't do that.
That's correct.
Okay.
You are correct. You cannot do that. But that happened. All right.
Okay. Good to know.
Number 2.
First irregularity. What's the second one?
You own an STVR, short-term vacation rental on Tybee. You charge $400 a night for it. You're fat and happy with money that just falls out of the sky for you.
From out of towners, yeah.
Yeah, Chuck, can the Board of Assessors, Chatham County, give you a Stevens Day tax freeze on that short-term vacation rental?
I don't know. Maybe.
No.
I don't know.
No. The policy on the Board of Assessors website says rental property is not, NOT is not
eligible.
So,
and that's happening?
That's happening.
And that's happening. Wow.
That's happening. Okay.
Jesus, 2 major types of irregularities. What's the third one?
Okay, it gets crazy. Chuck, can you register to vote from the campground at Tybee?
No, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people are registered out there.
4.
Oh, well,
but remember, there's only 45 votes that separate.
Yeah, but that's not that many.
All of these matter.
But that's legal, though.
It is legal.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, homeless people can register to vote at the Union Mission. Yeah.
And didn't know that. Okay, so it's the same thing. Okay.
Well, it's not the same thing. These people, we did a little more looking, a little more digging, because we wanted to be thorough. And they're actually caretakers that live in the cabins there.
Sure.
So it's not like they're pitching a tent that you might think in the first setup to this. Okay, next question for you. Can you vote in the Tybee City elections even though you have a homestead exemption in Cobb County?
No, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, they are. They are voting.
They are doing that right now.
You're not supposed to. But people.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it's not my fault. It's just what I discovered. Okay.
Jesus.
2 more.
Okay, 2 more.
Chuck, you moved away from Tybee Island 6 months ago. Okay, you moved off the island. You're living someplace else. Can you still vote in a Tybee election?
No.
Of course you can't, but people did.
People did?
Yeah, people did.
How?
Yeah. Okay, last one. Can you have 2 homestead exemptions in 2 different locations and kind of flip a coin or say, well, I think I'm going to vote in the Tybee election instead of the Cobb County election?
No.
Of course you can't, but they did.
Oh my God. This is like,
yeah,
this sounds like a case for what that stupid bill the Republicans in Atlanta wrote, SB 202 or 208 or whatever.
Yeah, well,
there needs to be some oversight. These elections are not being administered at all well at all.
Well, look at when you got a 3,400 registered voter list, and only 2,400 possible registrants. How does that happen?
I mean, lack of oversight.
I mean, Colin
it's
McRae,
the city manager, the clerk of the council. It's the head of the registrar's board. It's the head of the elections board.
Yeah.
Those are the entities and people that are responsible. And, I think some heads are going to have to roll. We were talking about the other day privately about how, like, the lack of somebody not getting fired in the Biden administration after the pullout from Afghanistan was like, it was very blunderous. It was very bad. And that nobody got rolled, it's kind of a bad signal to the American people. There's smoke here. Let's end the segment on this. There is smoke out here in Tybee Island. And I think it's kind of on fire. And I think that somebody's going to have to, lose a job, lose a title, get oversight from Atlanta for a year or 2 because
walk the plank, man.
I think there's some just bullshit going on out on the island here.
Well, yeah. And I can't emphasize enough that this is a chronic problem that goes back to 2016 or 17. And you see in the email chains of communication that certain members, and I won't name names, but certain members of current Tybee Council that were members back then, we're all over this, Chuck. They were saying this has to get fixed. And you, the clerk of council, it's your responsibility. Give us an action plan of what you're going to do. And that clerk produced a thorough action plan and then did nothing.
Yeah.
And is now blaming the board of registrars, saying she did her job, but the board of registrars are difficult and unpredictable and unhelpful. So it's kind of, everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else, but the voters of Tybee are going, what the hell? Why can't we get a honest election out here? Anyway, so that's what I've been focused on for quite some time, and we'll continue to follow it through, and we'll have more on it pretty soon.
Well, let's take a quick break and watch a video and then go to our main topic here.
Savannah needs additional tourism. Savannah needs additional tourism.
I appreciate our tourism community. I appreciate our hoteliers in particular.
Heavy is the crown.
Indeed.
So that's the title of our episode for tonight. And, you really see this cohesion amongst this 6-member majority on council now. They voted to remove Alderwoman Keisha Kishman Carter as chair of the council last week after, just bitterly divisive commentary on both sides. And, I support Keisha. I think what she's doing is great. And there's plenty of time between now and 2023 elections. But, there's just not enough ownership from this council on the issues that matter to us. I want to pull it up in a few minutes here, but we were kind of directly and indirectly called out by 3rd District Alderwoman Linda Wilder Bryan because we applied to be on the Impact Fee Advisory Council, and because we also criticized Van for being a task force mayor. Now, I want to just say this, John. The Impact Fee Advisory Council is required under state law. Okay, so it's not a task force, right? You agree with it? It's not a task force. It's right. It's a state law mandated advisory council to oversee the process of this funding mechanism.
Correct, but it's only advisory. Let's give it.
But I said, just advisory, to have an advisory role, to have community and industry input into this funding mechanism, right? A task force on fucking literacy is nowhere required. That is antics and kabuki theater, whatever you want to call it. We've had more murders 2 years in a row since you guys took office. You got the same police chief. Why haven't you empowered the city manager to fire him yet? These are the questions I have.
Yeah. Why do we lose almost 100 police officers a year and refill with rookies? Do you realize, Chuck, that our core patrol is probably 75% novice police officers?
Yeah, I'm still listening. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Explain what that means to everybody. Explain what that really means.
Well, the whole concept of community policing, which President Biden spent a lot of time today in New York talking about with the new mayor there,
who was a former police officer himself.
Yeah, I think a captain or a major, very high management individual. For as long as I've been around Savannah, almost 30 years, community policing has been a concept. Unfortunately, it's become a watchword,
it's a talking point,
or a dog whistle that never winds up being manifest in reality. It's something that every council runs on and says, we're going to fully staff the police department and provide community policing. Well, you can't do community policing with an understaffed police department. And this police
can never achieve community policing with an understaffed department.
Yeah, it's like
physically impossible.
Yeah, Billy Barty's never going to dunk a basketball. Okay, so this dog whistle of we're going to work on community policing and going to all the graduation ceremonies of the new class. Well, just as that new class is coming in, that many and half again are leaving.
Right,
so this is
a war of attrition.
Exactly.
That's it.
And this council, the majority, will not take responsibility for that. Yet they still promise community policing. You can't have it both ways. You can't promise community policing as a improvement model for safer streets and safer neighborhoods, and then not provide the staff to do it. It's disingenuous. It's a false narrative, and yet that's what they profess. So I said it in the last show, Chuck. I'm going to say it again. If anybody is ambitious out there, or if there's any reporters in our audience, I urge you to do this before I do it. And that is do a FOIA, a Freedom of Information Act request for the last year or two, if you want to really dig deep. Exit interviews with officers who—
please, somebody get those from HR.
Yeah, have officers who have left the department, and in that exit interview, there will be an explanation for their departure. And some of them are, hey man, my parents are sick, they're in Montana, I gotta move to Montana. Totally understandable. But what do you want to bet that there's a whole bunch of comments that says this department is untenable. This department has no command leadership. I don't trust.
I don't trust the leadership that I work for.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I'm pretty confident because I know people, and they tell me the number one reason people leave the department is because of a lack of trust of command. They play politics instead of supporting their officers. So, this council likes to brag about how Linda Wilder Bryan was a deputy sheriff at the jail, and Nick Palumbo was a park policeman in Washington, D.C. Van Johnson was—
I think he was the security officer with the DSS too. I'm just saying, just being fair.
Well, he's post-certified. He was with the Chatham County Police Department for less than a year. So they love to go to their credentials and wear them.
Well,
like
why don't those credentials lead them to make a good decision? That's my question.
Well, I think it's because this council majority is sort of a faux majority. It's one guy, and the rest are followers, and they follow the emperor faithfully.
What are you talking about? We got aluminum cups, man.
Oh, stop. Yeah, well, if you're out in the 3rd district, you probably had a few Happy Meals tossed at 15 or 20 miles an hour out the window at you, and that's supposed to establish your bona fides and make you a successful leader. Personally,
Duchess of Mickey D's, man.
Yeah, I think I think she is really a social worker and a custodian for the 3rd district, and not much more. She campaigned on term limits. She's reversed herself. She likes the limelight. She doesn't want to let it go, et cetera, et cetera. But as you know, and I told you, I've been watching The Crown, and just for fun, I decree that the heads of state of the monarchy of Savannah are as follows: Emperor Van Johnson, the Duke of Downtown. You understand who that is,
Dietrich
right?
Leggett.
Yeah. The Duchess of Mickey D's on Skidaway. That would be who?
That's Linda.
That's Linda. The Countess of the Fairgrounds. That, of course, is Estella Shabazz, the sellout of the Countess sellout of the Fairgrounds. Then we have the Earl of Ardsley Park, and this is Mr. I Know It All, aluminum cup.
I Alone.
I Alone, yeah. Nick Palumbo. And then we have, of course, lastly, the Baron of Bass Pro, which is a royal distinction for Curtis Purty.
Sure.
Out in the 6th district. So, this really is a dynasty headed up by an emperor, and the rest of these people's titles are just that, they're titles. They don't get much opportunity to speak for themselves because of the teleprompter mania of the mayor.
Sure.
They have seats at his table, but he tells them how to cut their food, how to chew it, when to drink, when to speak, what to support, what not to support. So we really have, after 2 years, it's no doubt in my mind, we have an autocracy here headed up by one guy who's incredibly gifted and talented at manipulating social media and building up a fan base. Can't even begin to compete with the guy. It's phenomenal, the number of
great.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, John,
yeah,
our royal majority on council, who
the royal majority
clamors about a fucking affordable housing. This is courtesy. This just came out a couple hours ago. Okay. This is courtesy of our friend at Savannah Morning News, Zoe Nicholson.
Yep.
Who is the growth and development reporter. Stick this link in the chat here. Yamacraw demolition request going to HUD.
Yeah.
So now Yamacraw's going to go. What are they going to offer Bryan Baptist Church to move from Yamacraw next?
Something substantial. I mean, we're just intent on making a continuous ribbon of tourism.
We're intent on removing black people from downtown
extravaganza from from MLK all the way out to the new arena. It's just nauseating, Chuck, the fact that for 10 years or longer we've been saying this arena is a wolf in sheep's clothing. This is a tourism project and master plan.
Relocate. Let me just read this line. Relocation of residents would start 90 days after HUD approval. I mean, honestly, we need to call Raphael Warnock's office and tell him to make sure they don't approve this. This is bullshit. Pastor Small's been talking lately about how, they said it would cost $124,000 per unit to renovate the units. That's ridiculous. That's fucking ridiculous. There's no structural damage. It need to be, some of them probably need to be stripped to the bones and rebuilt, but that's not $124,000. That's like $60,000. That's ridiculous.
Well, Chuck, isn't that what East Bloss brought us? Is we're now tearing down schools that are still viable and could easily be reinvested in, but instead we're going to scrape them down and build them someplace else or build them in the same place because we have this slush fund of East Bloss money. So this
last year, Earlene Davis, executive director, told Savannah Morning News affordable housing was HAS's first priority, but did not rule out other uses for the site, including the sale of the property.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's a bigger gentrifier, SCAD or the Housing Authority of Savannah. And it's tragic to say that, given, number one, the wealth of SCAD and their lack of morality.
I like that they made sure they didn't use a photo with you or I at that protest. There were white people there too, Savannah Morning News.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Now it should be clear to everyone, Chuck, that this master plan that was developed 20 years ago under Otis's administration was at the behest of the Chamber of Commerce to expand the footprint of downtown they thought it was going to be a 10-year period. The recession got in the way and SPLOST dollars didn't come in quite as fast as planned, so it became a 20-year timeline or horizon. But don't ever tell me that I voted and wanted this arena project, because that's what the mayor says. I mean, he responds to everybody, anything somebody says, he responds to, and I constantly say, "You deceived us on the arena SPLOST vote," and he comes right back and says, "Well, you may not have voted for it, but a majority of people did, so suck it up, McMasters."
Well, if you read any of the Savannah Morning News this week, you will see nothing but lauding for the opening of the arena. this weekend.
How about Adam Brummery called us nitpickers?
Well, I didn't see that. Where was that at?
That's today's editorial, that the long overdue arena has finally arrived.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reading a lot of people on social media nitpicking the project.
That's right.
He, for
That's
one,
right. That's
is
what we
delighted
are.
to it. Yeah, we're. I mean, the city would not be talking about and considering. I mean, they're going to fuck it up, but impact fee schedule. That's the result, in large part, not exclusively, but in large part, of our consistency of effort to bring better policy to these environs. Same thing with pilot fees. We've been right more often than we've been wrong, and that's a pretty good record.
Well, I'm gonna roll us out of the episode with some Linda Walter Bryan video, but I know I don't want to comment after, because let me just say this: if we had not tried to get involved with the Impact Fee Advisory Council, they'd have criticized us for not applying,
for not showing any interest.
Right. Let's remember that. I don't want to be on some bullshit task force. I want to be on the stuff I've been advocating for 5 years now. The stuff you, Linda, you, Dietrich, you, Curtis, you, Nick, all espouse to get support in the 2019 elections.
Right.
So quite a week so far, or a few weeks here, 5 weeks into the year for local politics here. And it's only going to get worse and more intense as we get closer to the primaries.
Yeah. Well, they, let's not forget, Chuck, Bridget Liddy, on behalf of the mayor and council, said that Broughton Street project streetscape renovations would be finished by March.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen. Will anybody call him to task on that? No, we will. I mean, obviously we will.
And we have a legitimate hearing in a few weeks for the weeping time in front of Judge Colbert.
Yeah. Maybe
I want to see a court make the city prove whether or not they sent that Brockington report to the right people at the state.
No, they sent it to the wrong people. That's not the issue, Chuck. I'll tell you.
I want that to become the leverage and the catalyst that wins the case outright. We need to get that case done.
Listen, I've got a friend that works in Department of Community Affairs, which is where it should have gone, and it didn't. It went over to the Department of Natural Resources, two entirely different state agencies. And my contact said, you guys are just being clueless, because they're over the weeping time up here in Atlanta. They don't care about it. We gave you all a marker a quarter mile away from the site. Shut up and be happy and grateful. Okay. So what's going to happen?
It always reminds me of Laura Ingraham on Fox News telling LeBron James, shut up and dribble. Just shut up and do your job. Shut up and pay more taxes. Shut up and get, more parking tickets and more bullshit fines and get dragged into recorder's court. All that stuff.
Here's how it's going to play out, Chuck. The judge is going to rule, you didn't send it to the right department. This court orders you to send it to the appropriate department. So Department of Natural Resources or the City of Savannah is going to send it to the right department, which is Department of Community Affairs Preservation Unit. They're going to look at it and come to the same conclusion that it's okay for the Salvation Army to build on the site. So I'm a firm contributor and believer in the Weeping Time Coalition. I always will be, and I'll follow him wherever that goes. But the die is cast, unfortunately, on this. And this council has no interest in the weeping time, which I find amazing, given that Mayor Dietrich and Linda are African American. They could care less about what happens to the weeping time, the remaining property, or all the property. Tragic.
Yeah. Well, I'm putting in the live stream comments, and I'll put in the chat box in the description of the podcast episode. Candidates, get in touch with us if you want to get an interview in. I'll be working on scheduling those over the next few weeks.
Yeah, it's going to get hot, heavy.
Yeah, by the end of this month, really starting even next week, I think we're a lot of the episodes are going to be candidate centric, issue specific to those races.
Yeah, I'm really interested in Alan Westbrook's time with us, Chuck, because she's incredibly articulate.
She's interviewed before.
She only lost by 12 votes in
19 votes, but yeah.
How many? 18?
19.
Okay.
That was the number,
Out of what, 3,000 votes?
It was a large amount of votes, yeah. A couple thousand, maybe 4,000.
So that's going to be a very interesting race, and I think she's going to have to be a little more compelling and a little more articulate on the issues. But I look forward to having her, and I'm very open-minded to it.
I'm open-minded on all the races at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, qualifying. Some of these candidates might not even qualify. I mean, this is not. I am not really made up on any race until you kind of have the knowledge and. Well,
yeah. Let's.
Some candidates we don't even have to hear from, but we want to hear from their opponents. Sure. I mean, that's true as well. So, I keep telling people, look, the combined races in May are more important than the mayoral election a year and a half from now. So, I want to make sure we focus and win on the races that are ahead of us. This state Senate seat is a very important, critical state Senate seat.
Yeah.
Either the candidates and even more, there might be more, but they need to be vetted and they need to commit to certain policy objectives. And most of these candidates will be familiar with us and our agenda, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to commit 100% to it, but you need to be able to meet us at least halfway. Right?
Yeah, or you could do what Lyndon, Dietrich, and Curtis did, and that is.
We're going to be diving deeper, and we'll have. You've already said this. We did not do video in 2019.
Right.
It was a pandemic in 2020 that really forced us to video.
Yeah.
We're not going to make this mistake again. If you come on here and you put your video up here that says you're going to do this or that, or you support this or that, and then you go back on it, we're going to be cutting ads against you. That's why we set this up as an independent expenditure committee, because too many political institutions, try to just play nice and play politically correct. That's not getting Savannah any better, right? We are losing this city to commercial enterprise, the tourism industry, the logistics industry, state interests, CETA.
It's just dishonest to campaign and tell your potential constituents, you're going to behave a certain way. You're going to advocate for this, or you're going to push for that, and then not do it, Chuck, and have some sort of epiphany that I've decided that term limits really aren't a good thing, even though I said they were.
Right.
So please forgive me, but I like this job and I'm going to stay in it.
Yeah, or I'm only going to run to fulfill the end of the unexpired term.
Yeah,
I'm gonna run for another term. Always a good example. All right, guys. A quick episode in. A couple minutes of video here on the way out, but I still have respect for anybody who's in public office. But if you're gonna come for the king, don't miss. I mean, I'm not calling this king's here. I'm just saying, like, what you're about to see is just complete bullshit. It's very rambling and it's very sad. The people we supported who said they were going to stand for change now refuse to do so. So, we're not going to make that mistake going forward, even if that means we withhold, endorsements. Like, we've done it a couple times in the past, like in House District 163, we just didn't endorse anybody.
Yeah.
Let the voters decide.
Ask Al Scott how his election worked out.
Well, he missed the runoff by only like 500 votes. That type of margin. Ask Carol Bell. Ask John Hall. There are people who have lost because they're super close elections, and the decision whether to help candidates out, I think, is a tougher decision for us going forward. So,
well, let's hear Linda Bryan.
Absolutely. Thanks for hopping on with me, John.
She's driving on the way to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. in Selma.
Sure.
And she has some very key thoughts to share that are very important.
Son, look at here. Public records, they something else. So all those people who throwing sand at me, man, I don't stop pushing out some boulders, because that's what I got. That's what I got. I got the truth, and I got receipts of real work. I'd be mad too if I was them, sitting in those big seats talking about what people doing to them. When every y'all listening to that crap. Hey, good morning, how you doing? Y'all listen to that crap if y'all want to. Y'all listen to that crap if you want to. They're false narratives. It's people pointing at people, people trying to do something to them. Everything I got out the mud. I worked for it. Nobody called me and said they had $1,000 for me or $5,000 for me. Y'all remember that? When I was campaigning, I said, send me $3. It's the people. It's 24,000 plus in the 3rd district. And that's what I'm counting on. That's what I'm counting on. Working, real work. So what I care about what people saying? What I care about people saying? Y'all see it and y'all know it. So they could say anything they want to say about Linda Wilder Bryan, but I can tell you this right here. Linda Wilder Bryan is John. Hey, how you doing this morning? Linda Wilder Bryan is John and Mary Wilder's daughter. Yeah. And so all I know is to work. And anybody else who knows Linda ain't no thief. I got it out the mud. Nobody don't work 16 and 18 hours to get anything. Ethel, what's up? Yeah, I got people who understand, and they know what the assignment is. And the assignment is not to be a bully and point fingers at other people because you big mad. And that sinister who walking around saying all this hateful things, standing in his church saying he's going to destroy somebody, supposed to be in the pulpit talking about love, is more than what they're talking about, y'all. Y'all listen to that mess if you want to. And y'all ain't getting nothing because they ain't doing nothing, but talking about the work that other people are doing. That's right, I said it. Yeah. It's Saturday. I'm out here doing what I do, work, and not talking about the work of other people. Hey, Deborah, you know you my hero, girl. And so all them other people who trying to beat Curtis up, hey, public records. So when y'all throwing sand at people, y'all better mind people don't start digging up what y'all and did. So guess what? Linda Bryan nobody did no fingerprints for Linda Bryan. I did some fingerprinting for some people. Yes, I did. And I didn't talk about it. So those people who you think are your friends, who go back and tell stuff that ain't even true, can't be corroborated. It's some stuff that a lot of people said that Linda didn't say, because Linda don't give a damn what other people doing. Oops, I cursed. I'm sorry. Yeah, let's hear it. Angie Stone. Yeah, I'm out here and I'm early, so that's what I do. But I'm at the park. I'm at the park waiting for these warriors. And while we were putting down dumpsters, hey, Gwen. That's right. Everybody know I'm a hard worker. There ain't nothing. I look here. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So I can say anything I want to say because I ain't in nobody's pocket. Y'all mad because I got good credit? I work for it. Talking about we getting new cars. We getting this. That's the hate. Hate is a vicious emotion, and y'all following that stuff up because y'all don't want to like me. Just don't like me. Just don't like me. Just don't like me, but don't lie. Don't lie. It's cold out here. It's beautiful out here. Cousin. What's up, cousin? So I'm just going to sit here. Yeah. And guess what? I'll take some questions. Some real questions. Marsha Huntington. She knitted all of these hats. Gave me one. I picked this one out. Yeah. I picked this one out. Gwendolyn. Hey, you doing? Cash money. Cash money. Leroy Parlin, how you doing, sir? I'm coming to that church. It's in the 3rd district. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace and love and gratitude. Y'all know Minister Parlin. Mr. Parlin is the voice and face of love over there at Adams Furniture, where they make you look like you sleeping. Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah. Sheila Moore, what's up? What's up, Sheila Moore? I want the good ones too. Elder Flossie David, and using them seats to fight for other people. But everything they've ever done is for them personally, using it as a battering rack and a battering ram for other people who ain't did nothing to them. But let's see. Breathe the same air. I'm good, and I ain't never scared. Juliet Marshall Curry. Come on, y'all share this. I'm at Well